How to do forward, inside, and outside 3 turns, beginner-friendly tips and tricks. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Ava. I'm a competitive adult figure skater and I share fun skating tips and tricks here on my channel. And today's video is talking about forward, inside, and outside 3 turns, and this is going to be a beginner-friendly tips and tricks tutorial. 3 turns are an essential move in figure skating and they're one of the first difficult turns that you will learn. This move will be used a lot throughout our skating skills test, our footwork, and a lot of other things. This is also a foundational element for more difficult turns that we will learn down the road, like rockers, brackets, and so much more. Forward, inside, and outside 3 turns can be tricky for beginner skaters because this is a turn completed completely on one foot, which is why I highly recommend making sure you can do a strong 1-foot glide on both legs going forward and backwards, and also being able to do a 2-foot turn sufficiently before trying your 3 turn. You will have a much easier time. When you first start learning your forward, inside, and outside 3 turns, they can definitely be a bit intimidating, but there is a really easy way to break them down and make them feel a little less scary. And I like to start by telling all of my students that a forward, inside, and outside 3 turn is just a different version of a 2-foot turn, except we're going to have our foot up the entire time. To get started with our forward, inside, and outside 3 turns, we're going to head over to the wall. This is where I like to start with all of my students because it's a really simple way to break down where you should be putting the pressure on your blade for this 3 turn. It's also going to help you feel comfortable and confident with turning on 1 foot. For this exercise, we are going to stand on 1 foot and we're going to have both of our hands holding onto the boards or the wall. And you are just going to put your foot up in a flamingo position, is what I like to call this. You want to make sure that your leg is not too high and it's not too low to the ground. I tell my students to point their toe right next to their ankle bone because this is going to help give you the most control when you're first learning your 3 turn. While we're holding onto the boards, you're going to want to make sure that your hips are facing directly in front of you, your shoulders are nice and open, you're standing up nice and tall, and everything is facing forward. And all you're going to do is just take 1 foot, lift it up, and you're going to bend and twist. And this is the knee bend kind of bend, stand, bend that I talked about in my adult 1 through 6 series. I will leave a link for that here on screen. So what you want to make sure you're doing is you're holding onto the wall. You have 1 foot up. It really doesn't matter when we're practicing on the wall. You can trade off whatever foot or direction you want to start with. Just like I am showing here in the video, you're going to stand on 1 leg. You're still going to have your hips and your shoulders open facing in front, and you're going to bend. And then we're going to twist. And when we twist, we're going to go from our bending position, snap up into standing up nice and tall. Your legs still can be bent in this standing position, but just don't have it super bent like when you start. You really want to press into your bend. You want to twist and stand up. And then to complete our turn, we are going to go back down into a nice soft knee bend. So to recap everything that we just did, we're going to hold onto the wall. We're going to make sure that our shoulders and our hips are open and facing in front of us towards the wall. We're going to have our foot facing sideways. So instead of having our toes facing forward as well, your foot is going to be facing either to the left or to the right. We want to make sure that our hips, our head, and our shoulders are staying open to the front of us. While we're standing in this position, then we're going to take 1 leg and we're going to gently bend, stand. When we stand, we're doing a snapping motion to do our turn, and then we're going to bend again. So you bend, stand, bend. And you want to make sure 1 foot is up. It's not up too high. It's not touching the ground. You want to keep it just like I am showing here in this video. The important thing to remember is when we are doing our turn here at the wall, you want to make sure that you're putting pressure not on your toe picks and not on the back of your blade. You want to put pressure right where I am pointing here on screen, and that is going to be our spin rocker. I talked about this a lot in my adult 1 through 6 series, but our spin rocker is where we complete all of our turns in figure skating, or a majority of our turns in figure skating. A common error that a lot of beginner skaters make, or skaters when they're first learning turns and stuff, is turning on your toe picks. And while that might feel comfortable at first, that is actually going to stop you from completing your 3 turn. If you do your turns on your toe pick, you're not going to make make the full 3-turn, and exiting your 3-turn is going to be extremely hard and uncomfortable. This is why you want to make sure that you are completing your 3-turn on that spin rocker so it's a nice, smooth, simple transition from forwards to backwards. And that is the main reason why I start all of my students with their 3-turns on the wall in the flamingo position, because I want them getting used to what it feels like to put pressure on the ball of your foot or right where that spin rocker is, turning side to side correctly rather than doing it at speed and stopping yourself with a toe pick. That is why we work on the wall first, to get used to where you should be bending, where the pressure should go when you are pushing into your blade, and how it should feel when you are doing the turn at the top of your circle, or where the 3-turn part will be completed. So now at this point, that flamingo exercise has helped us get used to what the bend stand bend should feel like, and where we should be putting the pressure on our blade, as well as where our shoulders and our hips should be aligned in our 3-turn. The next step is going to be doing our 3-turn either at the wall or a few feet away from the wall, moving at a very slow speed to get used to our 3-turn. A really important thing to remember is that our 3-turn happens on a curve and not on a straight line, which is another mistake a lot of beginner skaters make when they are first learning their 3-turn. This is why I recommend, if you are going to do your 3-turn at the wall, you want to make sure that you're a few feet away from the wall. Standing an arm's length away, just like I am showing here in this video, is a really great way to do the 3-turn correctly but still be close to the wall. Now that I have gone over the first couple steps to getting ready for your 3-turn or learning a very basic 3-turn, we're going to talk about what a 3-turn actually is and what the difference is between a forward inside and a forward outside 3-turn. Just like it sounds, a 3-turn is a 1-foot turn on the ice that makes a 3 shape. You will enter the turn either on a forward outside or a forward inside edge. Then at the top of our circle where we are going to turn, you twist to face the other direction, and you will exit either on an outside edge or an inside edge. You put that all together, it does make a 3 shape on the ice, hence why it is called a 3-turn. Now that we have gone over the basics of what a 3-turn is, why it's called a 3-turn, and we have started working on the wall, we are going to move away from the wall and onto a curve shape. I like to use hockey goals at either end of the rink or these half circle shapes in the middle. Both of these options offer a line that is curved you can follow for your 3-turn, which is great if you are a skater that likes to visualize where your foot should be in the turn or where you should be looking. You'll often see forward inside and forward outside 3-turns abbreviated. I will show the abbreviations here on screen, and the same thing can be said for our backward 3-turns as well. That is something you will learn down the road. Today we're just going to be focusing on forward outside and forward inside. This is a right forward outside 3-turn. This is our left forward outside 3-turn. This is our right forward inside 3-turn. And this is our left forward inside 3-turn. As confusing as all of that might sound, there's actually a really easy way to tell the difference between what 3-turn you are doing. Left or right corresponds to what direction or what leg you will be stepping onto first for the first part of our 3-turn, so that is either left or right. Inside or outside indicates what edge we will be on. So our forward outside, you'll be starting on an outside edge. For forward inside, you'll be starting on an inside edge. Another super simple way to break this down is based on what leg you will be picking up. So for our forward outside 3-turns, regardless of the direction, you will start by picking up the foot that is outside our circle, which is why working on the half circles are a great visualizer for this. Anytime we do our forward inside 3-turns, regardless of what direction, you're picking up the foot that is inside the circle. So a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about with the inside and outside foot, I have referenced in my Adult 1 through 6 series, so I won't be going over that in too much detail for this video. The most important part when we are doing our 3-turn, whether it is forward inside or forward outside, is you want to make sure you push onto a strong edge. If you push onto a flat edge, you're going to have a really hard time making that turn at the top of our circle. You want to make sure that you really push into a forward inside or a forward outside edge. How we stay on that edge is where our body is positioned. So if we're leaning too far forward, we're going to go up onto our toe pick, and we're most likely going to be flat instead of being on an edge. You want to make sure, just like that very first exercise where we're at the wall and we did the side-to-side twisting in the flamingo position, you want to make sure that you're staying nice and strong in that flamingo position. So you might need to engage your core, squeeze your stomach muscles is what I like to tell my skaters. Keeping our free leg nice and close to the foot that is on the ice, or basically touching that ankle, is going to really help squeeze everything together for your 3-turn, make it so much easier. Making sure our hips are facing the inside of our circle rather than facing directly forward or the outside of the circle is also going to help make our 3 turns so much easier. Last important thing to think about when it comes to your 3 turn is where your shoulders are. Our shoulders are often considered to be the steering wheel or the guide for a lot of our directional turning in figure skating. This is why you will often hear your skating coach or any other coach at the rink talk about checking your shoulders, and this is just making sure that everything stays where they're supposed to be to help make the turn, the jump, spin, anything like that so much easier. For 3 turns, what I often tell my students to do is think that they are serving plates at a restaurant or doing a move called serving the pizza. This is just a great way to visualize where your arms and your shoulders should be during your 3 turn. I think it's also a great reminder to let you know to keep your arms nice and still so they're checked throughout our 3 turn rather than having them flailing around. You visualize that you're holding a bunch of plates in your hand or you're holding a lot of boxes of pizza. You won't want to move your arms as much, and that is going to help make everything nice and checked for our 3 turn, because when you do your 3 turn, instead of using your upper body to whip you around the turn, your hips are doing all of the turning for the 3 turn. Which leads me into my last tip for today's video, and that is what our hips are doing during our 3 turn. A very common mistake a lot of skaters make is using their arms to complete the turn. You don't want to use your arms. You want to make sure your arms and your shoulders stay nice and still and they are following that circle on the ice. Our hips are going to be what helps us complete the 3 turn. So when you're doing your 3 turn, it's really important to think of that bend, stand, bend, because that's going to help you think about snapping your hips at the top of our turn. That is it for today's video. I am definitely planning on making a few more videos about 3 turns in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to stay up to date. I am getting better at posting new videos every week, and I will see you in the next video.
So you're really close to me. Okay, go.
I'm good. Okay, that one wasn't as good. I wiggled.